Cool. All right. Hey, so my name is Mark Schoennagel. Yeah, I'm one of the actually the newest evangelists for Unity. How many of you guys know Softimage in the room? All right. Well, so for 20 years I was a Softimage guy, and then now I'm not. So anyway, it's much better here. Anyway, so what I'm going to show you guys for about the next 35, 45 minutes or so is some of the cool new stuff that we're working on for Unity 5.0. I got some very cool news to share with you on top of that. This is me, by the way. You can email me as long as it's not some very long, complicated support question, because if I do this every day, then I'll never get my job done. So anyway, but if you just want to say hi, that's who I am. You can Tweeter me or whatever. I'm not really good at Tweeter, but I've got like 8 followers or so. I got a few more than that. But anyway, this is the cool bit. Everyone pull out your cameras and take a picture of that. And then sometime later today, tonight, or tomorrow, go to that URL, which you can barely read. I did that by design. And I'm going to give away a free copy of Unity. So someone in this room will get a Unity Pro. You don't have to register now. It's not going to be, you're not going to get to the top of the list if you register now. The drawing will be sometime during SIGGRAPH, I guess. Usually it's about 5 or 6 days from the time that everyone registers. And you'll get an email saying that you won or you didn't win. But you will get an email at some point. Answer the questions on there truthfully, because you'll get some good targeted spam, like when we're coming to the area, when we're doing educational events, if you're an educator, things like that. So it's not a lot of spam. You can always opt out. But anyway, good stuff there. So Unity 5. My least favorite thing in the world is doing PowerPoint presentations, but unfortunately I just don't have enough time today to show you all the fun stuff. So some of them I have to cover with PowerPoint, but whatever, it is what it is. We're definitely going to take a look at this girl, the little porcelain doll. This is showing off our new physically based shader and our new HDRI rendering technology. So some really killer stuff there. Physical based shaders, this is a really big thing. So Unity is going to look amazing come version 5. It looks amazing now, but it's even going to get better. So one of the cool things we've added is a physical-based shader, which means that by using this one shader throughout your whole scene, you're going to get extremely consistent lighting. There's basically a concept of having energy in the room, how much energy is being distributed amongst all your objects. It really makes working with lights a hell of a lot simpler and faster and greater. Things like real HDRI support, I'm going to talk about that, light probes, reflection probes, all this stuff which you can probably read. The new universal shader is amazing. This is actually another shot of the doll, since we're going to look at her in the interface. We'll skip by this, but this shot right here, it's a little washed out on the screen, but is there any way we can turn the lights down at all? If we could, that would probably make it look a little better. If not, no big deal. But this was actually a scene that was scanned with a laser, and like some crazy laser scanner. But this is all just one shader. So what we kind of actually believe at Unity is now 80% of your shading needs will be handled by this one shader. It's incredibly optimized. I'll talk more about that when we look at it. But some really cool stuff there as well. Here we're lighting a car with particles, all in real time. Talk a bit about that. Enlighten, this is a company that we acquired, a technology we acquired. So right now we're using Beast for all of our light baking. The guys who make Beast, my favorite people, they're kind of let that product slip a little bit. So we've actually acquired Enlighten, and going forward, all of our light baking, all of our real-time lighting is going to work through Enlighten, which is a heck of a lot faster, just infinitely better. Unfortunately, I can't take you through all of the Enlighten stuff today, but it's all right. I'm on the West Coast. I'm actually based out of Los Angeles, so hopefully I'll make it here about once a quarter, and maybe next time I'm here, I'll give you like a full hour or so of just Enlighten, because it's a really big tool set for doing lighting. I say video recorded on a Samsung Galaxy tablet. I'll show you a video in a little while. I was going to run it live, but just to connect all the wires is a little sketchy. So anyway, here's a couple shots of it. This is baked lights. This is not baked. This is all this stuff going on. The bluish area right there, that's all real time. It doesn't look like vertex colors. It really looks like true real-time global illumination, only it doesn't take an hour of frame to render or whatever. It's instant. It's amazing. Really, really is amazing. My background's more in rendering and lighting, and so that's got me all whatever it is that I'm at. Anyway. So anyway, just more cool lighting stuff. This looks so much better in the video or on this actually runs on my phone at 60 frames a second, 1080p on an HTC One with all this crazy lighting going on. If any of you are around afterwards, I'll hand you my phone. You can call someone or look at it. But anyway, WebGL support. This is huge. I'm just going to show you this. We'll talk about it. But basically, no more browser plugin that you have to download, which, it's fine. But for a lot of people like my mom, she wouldn't download a browser plugin. It's probably a good thing. Now, basically right now with Chrome and Firefox is compatible. As soon as Microsoft gets off their butt and finishes their work, Internet Explorer will handle it. But essentially, you go to a website, and there in the browser is your Unity creation, just as it would be on your tablet or on your Xbox or whatever. And the beauty there, too, is it doesn't have to run full screen. It can run in just a portion of the web page. So imagine like going to, I don't know, that big blue and yellow company that makes furniture, and you're pissed off because you're trying to put together the stupid bench and your screws are missing. Now you can just go to their webpage and see it all assemble with Unity and spin it around and oogle and whatever you do after you assemble your closet thing. Anyway, there's an example of WebGL. That's the game I'm going to show you. Good stuff there. 2D colliders, I'll show you this in the UI, but we've enhanced what we started with version 4.2, which is the 2D system, which is cool. Hopefully some of you are coming to my workshop tomorrow, where we're going to build a 2D video game. But anyway, we've added some new colliders there. I'm just going to show you those in the UI, so I won't talk about too much now. The new GUI system, Lula, whatever. This has been in development for a while. We want to make sure it's perfect before it's out the door, so it seems to have taken a couple years to get things perfect. That's good, though. It's almost finished. I'll give you a little sneak peek of that as well. That's actually going to come out here in, like 3-4 weeks. And then Unity 5 is scheduled for the end of the year, and we're pretty confident we're going to make that. So everything's looking good right now. We're at Alpha 19, and the beta branch just went live the other day, so we're close to beta. Every play. This is a cool little demo I was going to show you on my tablet. All it really is me playing a game and making a couple jokes about how bad I am at the game. And then afterwards, you can watch me play you can watch what I did in the game being recorded. So what every play does is it actually records everything that your user is doing on the game from the time that you tell it to. So you can have it record the entire game. You can tell it only record when they achieve a certain milestone. Maybe they beat the boss, or when they enter the boss's lair, start recording. And then it comes up, and actually, sorry, there it can record your whatever's coming off the camera too, so don't do it nude and low. But there are, I say that, but if you go to the Every Play servers, there are a boatload of videos where people have uploaded themselves playing, and what they're doing is I wouldn't put that out there. Some people take their games very seriously. The neat thing about this is, so this is Skyline Skaters, and you can see down there it says share, tweet. So the beauty is, all we're trying to do with Every Play is get more people to play your games. That's it. That's the whole philosophy behind Every Play. As indie developers, it's hard to get people to find your games, right? So what better way than have someone, beat your boss, share it on their Facebook page, and then suddenly it's all over Facebook, right? And hopefully your game becomes some weird viral little thing that happened in the game. So it's all for you guys. It's actually available now today for free on the Asset Store. Just search for Every Play, paste a couple lines of code into your game, and it'll start recording. And on my iPad, on my latest version of iPad, which is the Retina display, it's a 1-frame performance hit to enable Every Play. And it records it at the native resolution in H.264. So it's a format you can then later edit. It all handles through our server, so you don't have to deal with that, which is a good thing, actually. Someone wrote me in a comment yesterday, your server is lame. I'm like, yeah, but do you want to call Amazon and buy a cloud? Probably not. So anyway, but you can actually use your service to host it as well, but that's a whole other story. Anyway, we're not going to give away an iPad mini. I don't know what that slide's in there for, and we're not going to do that either. So this is the little thing that pops up. So after you complete your game, it says, do you want to share? You push that, and you can see we can share the video to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I don't like to say Twitter, or email, and then if you click the top button, it'll just play back. So again, Every Play is all for you guys. There's also another technology that I don't have a slide for, but it's called Playnomics. Think of Google Analytics, but for your game. So you embed some code in there, and it's unbelievable what Playnomics, I keep wanting to say analytics, what Playnomics actually can figure out. So somehow they figured out a way to predict when people are going to stop playing your games based on their previous usage. And you don't really have to opt into it, but it's cool because you can send out targeted messages to say, that person who's played your game twice and then they shelved it, you can say, you know what, anybody who's only played my game a few times, if it's gone 2 weeks, send them a notification that says, hey, I'm going to give you a new crazy-ass gun because you haven't played the game. The guy who's playing it every day, he's got to earn that gun, but you're just going to get it for free. And there's all sorts of other analytics in there. Go to playnomics.com, click on the little button in the top that says View Demo, and you can see all the analytics that we muster up for you, and that's actually going to be in the 5.0 build as native functionality. So really cool stuff there. That's actually the Every Play package. Audio, I'm not going to be able to show you any audio today, mostly because the build that I installed currently makes it not work, so it doesn't work. But anyway, it does work when it normally is working. We've basically ripped out the entire audio, everything. We've ripped out audio and replaced it with new audio. And the guys went crazy with their goals for it. So all sorts of DSP effects, and I believe, I don't know if it'll make version 5, but the goal is to have even VST plugins be available, so any of you that know about that stuff, that just opens a crazy, crazy world of effects and everything. The ability to do snapshots, so you could say at that side of the room it sounds like this, and over there it sounds like that, and as you go between those two, different levels can go, and everything you'd really expect from being able to author video game audio, so good stuff there. Improvements to Mechanim, probably the biggest one is being able to execute scripts from within the state machine. I'm just going to show that off instead of talking right now so I don't waste any more time. I don't know why he looks like that. Maybe he was outside. I live in California. It smells the same there too. But essentially now what we can do is do direct blending of trees. So you take your blend shapes, you load them up, and you can just use sliders to set all your keyframes on your blend shapes, just like you would in any 3D animation package. So a lot better ways to do lip sync, facial animation especially, not having to bake out all your animation in Softimage or whatever other package you might be using, but I still recommend Softimage. Anyway, all your sliders work and does good stuff. You don't have to bake everything out is essentially what I'm saying. So you wind up with this big point cloud of moving with a lot of RAM. Even though with version 5 we're going to be fully 64-bit, so a lot of you who are annoyed that you run out of RAM, that all goes away too. Another cool thing is being able to use the new entry and exit nodes, which will allow you to go from various states, enter and exit different states, which I'll just show you how that works in the UI. That's really, really cool. Good stuff there. These are all the other enhancements, or some of the other enhancements that somebody thought was very important, including the Windows Store app joystick support, which that's going to change everything. No, really. All right, so I don't quite know if I should stand or hunch, so I'm going to try hunching for a minute. And let's just start off. So I'm just going to hit play first. And, oops, I wanted to go full screen. So you may have seen this image on our website. This is our little porcelain doll. This is going to show off a couple things. One is showing off our new universal shader, and two, it's showing off our new real-time HDRI support. I'm running on the wimpiest little Ultrabook that you can currently buy. It weighs about an ounce. It's got Intel integrated graphics. There's no fancy pants hardware going on here. I'm getting fantastic frame rate, and this scene is being entirely lit by an image. If I change the image, we can start to see some cool stuff. Let's see when we get to see her face, kind of watch the shadows around her eyes. You'll see them actually change direction, where they're coming from, because all the lighting information is now is coming from the image that we've seen. So you can, or we see in the background. The background image doesn't have to render, so you can just basically light your scene without actually seeing that in the background. So even if you're building a backgammon game and you want it to look like you spent a crazy ass amount of time lighting it, just take a picture outside, or a few of them. How many of you know how HDRIs work, by the way? Of all of you that just raised your hand, are you talking about on your iPhone, or are you talking about a real HDRI that we've been using in film for a while? Silence. I'll show you what it looks like. So a lot of you think that when you take your iPad and you put it to HDRI mode and you click the button, it takes a real HDRI. It doesn't. It's doing a fake. A real HDRI is taken using multiple exposures with the real camera. So essentially, I would say in Hollywood, but it's just as much Hollywood up here now as it is down where I live, you see them shooting chrome balls all the time, right? There's a good reason for that. So what they're doing is it's a light probe. You take a good DSLR, you take a bunch of different pictures. I like to shoot anywhere between 5 and 7. You shoot it at f2.4 if your lens is that bright, all the way up to, say, f50 if your lens is that dark. And what you wind up with are several images like this. This one's only 3 or 4 pictures, but you can see when we have it at like f50, you can only see where the sun is at. Everything else is black. As you open up the shutter a bit, or open up the aperture, whichever, you can see that it's the same thing. You can see that now we're letting in a bit more light. We can start to see a little bit more where the lighting in the scene is coming from, until we wind up with this one. And I always do one that's even way more blown out than that. But once you put them in a program like HDRI Shop, you wind up with something like this. So you're able to really dial in and see exactly where the light is coming from. So this is what Unity, just like RenderMan, Mental ray, all these ray tracers have been doing this for a little while, but especially mental ray, you're waiting for hours. This is all real time, so we know exactly where that light source is coming from. You just put it on a skybox, and it becomes your light source. If we look at a couple other ones, because we're going to see these back in the UI again, you will see, like this one here, we don't really see exactly where the light is, but we can still kind of get an idea. We can still get an idea of what areas are bright. Like there's definitely some lighting coming in. Let me zoom out a bit. We can see there's definitely some lighting coming in there, so maybe the sun's kind of behind the shadow, whatever. Anyway, there's thousands of HDRIs on the web. You can take your own. Just if you use the one that your iPhone takes or your Android phone if it has it, it's not going to work the same way. You really need to have a true HDRI. So anyway, getting back to what I was babbling about. Let's see. Here we go. Play this back again. I was saying that we have one shader on here. So there's the new universal shader that I was mentioning is all physically accurate and all that good stuff. The screen's a little bit washed out. Otherwise, on mine, it's a lot more contrast and dynamic-y, but that's a technical word. But just how cool is that, right? I mean, just lighting with an image. And if I spin this around, we should see that little glimmer right there? Whoa, right? So there's just a little lens shader on top of that. That's all based off this whole business of energy. So let me just stop this for a second and open up my scene here. And I have a character called Balloon Stupid Cat. And if I unhide Balloon Stupid Cat, let's open up the new universal shader. Let's take a look at what this does. So this is the new shader. Wow, look at that. A couple of sliders and some buttons. The neat thing is look, all those texture maps are now built in there by default. So no longer do you have to stack textures or anything like that. But you can also have secondary map. You can have more than one UV set. But the neat thing is when you compile your game, if you don't have any of those shaders plugged in or any of those texture maps, it's going to exclude those from the build. So it's not going to always be calculating ambient occlusion if you don't have an ambient occlusion shader. So it's super optimized, super fast. This doll plays back 60 frames a second on my phone as well. But essentially, if I start adding things like, right now, there's no specular. There is a specular, and it's just using this shiny bit. And actually, let's go here let's find our little doll. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, check this out. If we zoom in on, look how cool our little fabric looks. Isn't that great? It's pretty great. It's great on my laptop. It's not a super high-res texture, which is cool. But anyway, if we go over here, we see my awesome blow-up thing. And if I crank up the glossiness, now one of the things that is neat about a physically based shader, a physical based shader, is as your specular diffuses or gets bigger, the amount of energy it is pushing out reduces. So you get a softer, less bright specular, which is exactly what we see going on here, right? It becomes blurry until it looks like bunk. But essentially, right there, we got a really hot specular on it, and it's very tight, and then as you reduce the glossiness, the energy kind of radiates, and it does that business. So all your shaders are going to work in conjunction like that. If you have something that's pushing energy in, the other object will actually inherit it, which is cool. Just the way it works in the real world. But I'm going to replace this specular right now with actually a texture map, and I believe it's this one. Let me see it by name. I believe it's that one. Yeah, this one guy right there. Cool. So now we see this dude in all of its awesome glory, and you can see he's... But look at it, it's sparkles. So there's a normal map on there, giving this guy some bump. She's wondering why she's holding a pink balloon. But check that business out. So that's cool, right? So if I go and take off this thing here and set this to none, now it's going to have a lot more shimmeriness on it, because the specular before had some color on it, which was actually sucking up some energy. Now it's not quite doing that. If we go to the outdoor craziness, look at that one. These are obviously bumped up a little. These are like demo artists. Like, you wouldn't really want to have that, but it's good for demos, I guess, because you can then really see it, right? Look at her little ring, it's a little thing. Anyway, so that's just some of the shading bit. This is a bug. Watch if I change it, it comes back and it is no longer that bright. I don't know why that happens. It's only on the second time it plays back. But anyway, that's why we're in alpha. So anyway, that's a little bit on the rendering stuff. Usually I'd go a little bit deeper, but shoot, I know we're got a lot to do in a short time to do it. So I'm going to open up. No, you know what? I'm going to minimize for a second. I want to show you a video of this guy. So this is a customer who, very few customers have version 5 already. I'm not quite sure how they even got it, but this is just something they sent me to show anybody at SIGGRAPH, whatever. SIGGRAPH's in town. Woo! Yeah, all done with the new universal shader. Just pretty cool. 60 frames a second on pretty much anything, and we could spin it around to the back. All pretty. I wish this had a little bit more complexity to the shape, but I guess we get the idea. Pretty cool. So good stuff there. And I'm not going to show you the Enlighten workflow. I just got over the flu. A workflow. But this is what I was going to show you running on my phone. So this is a bunch of things. So we got, actually, you know what? Let me back that up because I rambled too fast. So this first room that we're in, this is all bake lighting. So the bake lighting in Enlighten happens now pretty much real time. You move an object, whoop, it just rebakes it. And then it does that on your texture map. So that's what Beast used to do. It does still do the baking. But it can also do real time after you baked your textures. So you bake your textures, so now your environment looks right. But now you've got a guy who's shooting light in your room that's actually in the game. So you're not going to bake that, but it can do that in real time now. So notice it doesn't look at all like a Vertex colors. There's no, it looks it's per pixel. It looks amazing. And as we go into this other room and come on. So then you go into this room. So here we're just animating the emissive property of the light to get that red shine, and you can see it just fills the room up with energy, and we get some nice, beautiful global illumination. Again, it's all in real time on mobile. We've been able to do this for a little while on a fancy Xbox or on a big PC with 8 graphics cards in it, but now on your phone, it doesn't even get hot. It's a good thing, unless you got a crappy phone. Anyway, we're going to go into this room here in just a second. I should probably get rid of that down there, but that's all right. Come on. Go, go, go. It's very dramatic. Bum, 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 bum. There's no music to it. There should be. Come on. I want to get into the big room. I could probably just skip ahead. No, let's let it show. It's pretty. Come on. Really? I've wasted 2 minutes? Not wasted. There, these guys. So these guys they're actually illuminating the room. So there's a texture map. The white part of the texture map is illuminating the room. The blue isn't quite so much. So we can even get spill off of textures. And then as this thing starts to crank up, we really fill the room up. And look at that, real-time shadows, real-time lights, all that stuff. So this is all in version 5. This is going to change your world. And then suddenly, white. Anyway, let me show you something else. So this scene doesn't show it off super well, but I'll show it to you anyway. One of these days I'll build something a little bit better. But we have a new technology called reflection probes. So when you think about calculating a reflection, you're generally calculating the reflection on the actual object that's going to inherit the reflections, which is great and all. But if you have a really complex shape, like 1,000,000 polygons or something, which is, okay, it's probably a bit too much, but if you had a very complex shape in your game, those reflections would have to be calculated for every single face or every single polygon on that object. What a reflection probe allows us to do is just take a sphere. You throw the sphere somewhere in the room, well, not somewhere, near the center of the object that you want to inherit the reflections, and it figures out the reflections that are going to happen on that little sphere. So maybe like a 64 polygon count sphere. And then it figures out how that would work on a much more intricate object. So all those reflections are only having to calculate on a sphere, but we feel and it looks as though it's being calculated on something a lot more exciting. That scene I showed you in the beginning, that was still of that barn, and that I mentioned was laser scan. That has a lot of cool reflection probes in it, which are a little bit more exciting than this guy, but you kind of get the idea. It is a fairly complicated shape, but we're barely pushing the reflection call. So good stuff there. Really, really increases your frame rates, because again, you're just not having to calculate all that nonsense of all those extra reflections. So let's see, Enlighten every play, WebGL. Let me show you some WebGL. And let's go into, what am I doing here? No, that's not what I want to do. Where'd Firefox go? Oh, it's somewhere like over here. There it is. So let me do that. Let me go find a file. One of these days I'll have a link on my desktop, but I don't care. And it's pretty deep. Dead trigger. So let me just fire up dead trigger. Okay, so this is what basically it looks like with WebGL. So no plugin had to load. You just go to the website, and it pushes the game to you. We can stream content from it, so you could have your opening screen pop up, make them type their name, and while they're typing their name, it's pushing the rest of the content. If for people with slow internet connections, whatever, go full screen. And I'm going to hit go, allow. Now, one thing I've noticed with my little baby laptop is sometimes, and I don't know what it is when it does it and when it doesn't do it. No, it seems to be fine. Sometimes the frame rate chugs in half when I project, but only when I project. So anyway, we're going to go and do some hacking and slashing. And look, this is all running in a browser. And keep in mind, we're running full screen, but it doesn't have to be full screen. I could be just a small portion. Those zombies spit out cash, which is cool. So imagine just pushing your game like this. This is going to bring web games to a whole nother level. All native HTML5, WebGL. And one thing about this game, which is really cool, is, well, you got to wait till I get some more zombies. Come on, zombies. Where are you at? Oh, there's one. Watch this. I'm going to kill him with my chicken sentinel. See, that's actually a chicken. Die, bastard. See? Not a lot of people have thought of that one yet. Anyway, cool. So there's deadly chickens with guns strapped to them. They seem rather intent on aiming properly, too, which is good. Anyway. All right, cool. Let's see, moving right along. Shoot, I'm going quick. I'm really running out of time. Let's see, do I still have a version of Unity open? I do. I need to open it. This one will work. Open project, 2D effectors, don't save. So with version 4.2, you used to be able to make 2D games in Unity no problem, but a little bit of a pain. So with version 4.2, we added all kinds of support for 2D effectors and colliders and things. There were a few things missing. One of them that was quite a bit requested was the ability to attract and repel object, repulsive, whatever. So now you can make basically Angry Birds, no problem, using Unity. And I like this. This is like a bam. See that? Pretty cool. Let's do that again. Drop some bombs. I like how it's like Flappy Birds mixed with Angry Birds or something. Die, gas pumper. So that's just using the repel feature. And I'll show you on another scene how that actually works a little more. Let's go to a tractor. So here I've got, I was going to say I got 3 balls. I'll say it anyway. So here I got 3 balls. And if I hit go, and I grab, oops, hang on, let me make this not full screen. So if I grab one of my 3 balls, that was a good laugh, and I move it around, watch, this is going to, the rocks are going to be attracted to my ball. So there you go. What's so funny? So we see that going on, right? All right, I'm going to stop that. And let's just go ahead and open up our planetoid. And you can see here we have, where are we at? Yeah, here we go, our new point effector. So this is all brand new. This allows us to make basically Angry Birds Star Wars, that whole kind of, the gravity business. So we can have a force magnitude in the plus or negative direction. I had it negative, which was a repulsor. If I make it positive, like a plus 40, now watch what my balls do when I move them. I don't know what's fun. Anyway, now it just pushes everything away. Stay away from my ball, see? See that? All in the wonderful real time. So just some cool stuff for you to make, fun games, like that. Just little fun little, whatever. A tractor repeller belt. Tractor repels, whatever. I can't say that word apparently today. I wasn't allowed to have a beer. I was going to have a beer, and they said I couldn't have it on stage, but I could have water. That doesn't make any sense. Let's get this one here. So here I like money. One of the nice things about liking money is, see, I can push the money away, or I can grab it, click the mouse, grab it, and I can hold on to the money. So the nice thing about these attractors and repellers is that they can actually hang on to it. They can hang on to it. So I can push it away, or I can grab it, and bring some up, and then shoot it away. So, just some fun with different effectors. Someone's going to make a far better game than what I've been able to create here. And if we open another scene up, I'll show you one other one. In previous builds, if you were making a platform game, there was a huge pain in the ass that happened. And that was when you tried to jump, say, from right here through this platform and land on top of there. Because the platform collision detection was happening bidirectionally, you would basically whap your head and get ricocheted down to the ground. So the way that you fix that was you actually, through scripting, and a lot of it, you'd have to use ray casting to shoot rays out of your head or whatever to find out when you're going to pass through one of these. Basically turn off the collision detection, wait till the instant you pass through it by casting rays out of your toes, then you land on the thing and hope that it all works. So now we've just made a double-sided collider, which is a lot better. And if we made it like so if I throw some money at this, you just have to throw money at stuff, right? And it fixes it. So we threw a lot of money at this. And look, it fixed it. But look, those things are pivoting, right? So how's all that happening? Well, one of the neat little things inside of our new platform thing, and I like how I zoom in, the icon appears to get smaller, but see that little green business right there? That's this thing here called the hinge. So we can have a hinge, and a hinge can have motors and limits and constraints. So for instance here, I've got a limit set for 30 and negative 30, and that's why we see this icon right there. If I would set this to say negative 90 and 90, you can see now I get, full 180-degree arch. If I turn on use motor, and I give the motor speed of like 10, let's hit go, and let's see what happens. Look at that, we got a low motor. And then as soon as it gets to, that's a really fast motor, as soon as it gets to there, it should stop. Look at that, wow. Awesome, let's make the motor speed like 100, and let's tell it not to use a limit, and hit play, and throw some money at that. So you can see the money goes through on one side, catches on the other, depending on where the money lands, like so. So anyway, good stuff there. Shoot, I am running out of time. Let me show you Mechanim really quick. Come on. I got to show you this with an older build because it's broken in the new build. Aren't I honest? That's why we're in alpha. Okay, cool. So hit open here. Scenes, low game of bug. So this is what we call engineering artwork. When an engineer makes a game. In this game, you are supposed to... Oh, no. Oh, there we go. Phew. So in this game, the TV launches at you, but you need a controller to make it happen, and then you're supposed to kick it. I'm not sure what kind of game that is. But notice when he kicks, and he has that little particle thing coming out of there, right? If I grab the character, go to the base layer, let's just get a little bit more room here, show you what's new. So here we are in Mechanim, and we've got different idling poses for this guy. So through scripting, just a couple lines of script, we're able to say, okay, you know what? This guy's going to get progressively more sad as he has to idle longer. So he's idling there once or twice, anywhere between 1 and 2 times in each pose. Then he gets more and more angry until I kick. Bam! And then look, we transferred out of that state into a completely different state right in the middle of it. Doesn't matter. And it picks a random kick based on some random parameter. But anyway, so there, you can see it popped into that state. So the cool beans there is just being able to enter and exit using the entry node and the exit node. That makes that a lot easier. There's some other cool stuff in there too that just don't have time to show. So let's go back to the base layer. You can see it's all over the place here. If I open up the fight state, if I click on any one of these fight nodes, look what happens here. We have all these scripts that are now attached to it. This was a huge pain in the arse before. You couldn't do any of that. So you'd enter a state, and you couldn't just say, just execute this little bit of script. So now you can just say, hey, give me some trails. So there you go, or whatever you want them to do. So good stuff there. On the facial side, facial expressions. We can spin this guy around. The camera orbiting is a little wonky in this build, but hey, look how happy he is. Hey, wink, wink, hi. That's a very good laugh. And then look, so he's angry. So again, the beauty here is all I had to do is bring in a couple shapes and link them all together. So as opposed to having to bake all your animation, so you're in, I'm always going to say Softimage. You're in Softimage, you're doing all your facial animation. You'd have to bake it, bring all that in as a baked shape. That's going to take a lot of RAM. You're not going to be able to edit it. Now it's all in Mechanim using the, just using some sliders. So you can do a lot more. You can have, obviously audio could drive this. You could have all sorts of dynamic, fun, wink, wink. Okay, anyway, good stuff there. Last thing I'm going to show you is some GUI stuff. I was going to build you a GUI, but we just don't have enough time, so I'm just going to show you some examples. Let me open up some, where is it at? GUI, there it is, cool. So that was all version 5. That's all going to be end of year. This is soon. This is imminent. So let's just go and show you that stuff. Let's go menu 3D, turn off our stats. Menu 3D. So watch this. Look, I move it and it scales. Look at that. Awesome, right? Look, so suddenly your guy goes from horizontal to vertical, and you didn't have to code anything. It just automatically, magically happens. The way it works is, you know what? I am going to make something from scratch. You can candy cane me if you want. I'm going to go here and just say, create UI, give me a button. And what it does is it creates, if I zoom out, I'm a little shy on real estate. Cool, let's grab our button, and let's move it up here. So this little square box, this is your canvas, and the canvas represents your screen real estate. So if I scale this, you can see it matches basically the pixel ratios that I have down here. If I move this around, that's good. If I were to say, let's go and just zoom in on this guy a bit, and I'll get my new rec tool. That's this guy right there. The rec tool allows you to scale your buttons nicely, and look, it comes up with all that stuff so you can do nice snapping, so it's all good there. I'll duplicate this button. I'll bring this one here. Look, these little lines appear. What do those do, Mark? I'll tell you in a second. We'll put this one here. It slices, it dices, it does all sorts of stuff. So here, these little lines, when you're using your arrow keys to navigate, like say your guy doesn't have a touch screen or a mouse, you want them to be able to use their arrow keys. So all these wires are saying what arrow key is going to take you to what menu next. You can make that all automatic like it is now, or you can do it manually. I suggest automatic. See this little rounded little curve right there? Look how pixely that is. This is a 16 by 16 pixel frame around there, but look, it looks all wonderful and awesome. That's because the way we're doing our stretching. So I could say, you know what, let's go and change that texture map really quick. Let's go here to textures, and I'll get one here, down here at the bottom. Let's get, no, where is it? Dotted, rounded. Rounded, rounded, how you spell round? There it is. Wait, darn it, I need more real estate. All went downhill from here. No, rounded, no, that's not it. Dotted, there it is, dotted, rounded. There we go. So I'm gonna drop this into here. This sprite lets you see what's going on a little bit better. So we have this little, this is 64 by 64, but the way we split it with the sprite editor, you can see we divided up into 9 quadrants. Only the center quadrant scales if you have it on tiled. So look at that. Now you get this nice tiling. If I shrink it, notice it doesn't shrink. Well, why doesn't it shrink? Well, because I don't have any of these things that are called anchors. So if I select this guy and say, okay, you know what? I want to set the anchor to stretch. Click that guy. See these little guys right there? Those are your anchors. So it went from the center now to the sides, and now if I scale this, watch the bottom button scale with the UI, because I have anchors on the left and on the right. You can have anchors anywhere. You can do all kinds of cool stuff with anchors. You can now see how the tiling works. Look at how those little dotted things go away and get bigger like so. Cool. All sorts of other stuff in here, but I got to keep going. So I just want to show you a couple more examples, and then we're done. Drag and drop. Watch this. So like your guy just grabbed the level 85 Vorpal sword, and he wants to load them up. Look at that. Load them up, just drag and drop. So this is all out of the box. This was a lot of code before. Super simple now, drag and drop. Let's go here. Let's see examples. One more minute, we're done. Probably more like 3 scenes. Rendered texture, that one's cool. So rendered texture, think of like Mass Effect. You walk up to a computer terminal and there's like epic space war going out, but then you look out into like your game and there's the same epic space war. You can capture any part of your game and actually project it onto your UI and put buttons on it and everything. So here we have this little Stanford bunny. That's this guy right there. If I were to zoom into the Stanford bunny, let's just stop this. Look, the Stanford bunny's like way down there. This little tiny bunny way down there at the bottom. Look, zoom out, keep zooming out. Like he's a tiny little bunny, and then he gets just pre-projected right there using game object raw image. So the raw image will let you grab anything from the scene, reproject it onto your UI, and use it as an element, whether it be 3D or not. Almost done. Let's see, layout groups. Watch this. Even if it's super crazy complicated, it can still auto-rearrange. And look how cool this button up here scales. The one that says grid. Look, it all scales, but it only scales in the middle. It does that perfectly. Good stuff there. Menu 3D. Scroll view's cool. I'll show you 2 more. Scroll view. Look, if I hit play, I can just scroll these guys like a film strip, and it does a little highlight on it. And this is super easy to do. Like 5 minutes and you got this UI. I kid you not. There's a good video on the web for it. And the very last thing I'll show you was all these little widgets. These are the widgets that we support, and by that I mean if you hit game object, create UI, sliders, scroll bars, toggle, canvases, event systems, that's all these here. So I can slide this all out of the box, super easy, check buttons. Look at this, this is 2 boxes on top of 2 boxes. I can change the color, and that's it. Whew, that was fun.